Yo, what's up? Day 73 of weed sobriety, and it's cool that I'm getting some questions on this YouTube channel because a big thing people are asking about is anxiety, and if I went and stopped cold turkey, and was I anxious, or how's my anxiety doing? Was I anxious before I quit and all that? Here's the thing. I was anxious before I quit for a bunch of reasons that are for another video, but there was anxiety. The more I used, the more anxious I felt, and it was all in denial. All right. So the other thing that's interesting is that I have been on a couple different medications for anxiety for years. The one that used to work really well when I was not consuming cannabis at like high levels like I was for the past 8 months before I quit was Lexapro. Lexapro worked really well where I had this generalized anxiety, and Lexapro would just, that wave you feel in your chest where it's like whatever you're thinking about, and that just sort of, your nervous system goes across your chest, and it just sort of floats, and you're floating in this bit of anxiety all day, and sometimes you don't even realize it. Lexapro like muted that. And so what's really crazy is that when I was over consuming on THC, Lexapro stopped working. So one thing I think people might be searching is, can you smoke weed and take Lexapro? You can if you want Lexapro not to work, in my personal experience. Now, when I quit, did I wean myself off or did I quit cold turkey? I quit cold turkey because I know myself, and with my addictive personality, if the option is on the table, this was the same with alcohol. Because I was looking at this, and what's cool is that with alcohol, it's been 447 days of sobriety with alcohol. When it was an option on the table, I would do it. Even if it was less, I would do it, and then I would slowly do it more and more and more. It's like a snowball effect. Same with weed. I have gone months before not doing it over the 20 years of me having a relationship with marijuana. But I just did cold turkey because I knew if I weaned myself off, which I've tried to do, by the way, where I'm like, I had my journal and I would be like, all right, my baseline is 10 milligrams of THC in gummies. If I did more than 10 milligrams, I considered that above 100%. If I did less, I considered that below 100%. So let's say I did this, I would go like week, 10 days, 2 weeks doing half of a gummy. I was like, I'm doing 50% THC every day. That's how I looked at it. And I put that in my journal. And then there'd be a weekend or whatever where I would consume way more than that, or just life was coming at me, and I went back to 10. Then I'd go back to 5 and be like, all right, I'm at 50%. I think I never actually went below 50%. I never actually, maybe for like 2 or 3 days here and there, I would take like a little nibble of a gummy and be like, all right, that was probably 25%, right? That didn't work, so I just had to take the option completely off the table. So did that make me anxious when I did that? Well, yeah, it made me anxious, but when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you're sick of being anxious, you just watch videos like this, and you know what's coming, and know that you're not alone, and know that there's a lot of people. In fact, get the I Am Sober app. That's a great app because you can actually see who is also, not who, but how many people have also committed to being sober from marijuana, and it's like a social feed, so you can actually be like, all right, I'm day 1. Me and 1,500 other people are day 1 of THC or marijuana sobriety, and then you get to day 7, week 1. Me and 800 people have gotten to week 1, and then like I could look right now, and it's me and X amount of people that have gone 70 some days without weed, and you can hear and see what people are dealing with. And what happens is, for the first week to 2 weeks, your mood sucks. Your anxiety's through the roof. I think if you watched my video on what happens when I quit smoking weed after 20 years, 45-day sobriety, that video, then you will hear me talk about crawling to bed and feeling like for the first few days to a week, I had zero energy to even communicate with other people. I was just like, everything is so hard right now. So what happens with like the I Am Sober app is you see people report their moods, and they can report if it's a positive change or a negative change, and most of it is negative for the first week to 2 weeks, really 2 weeks. And then what happens is everything's negative, and then it becomes, there's like a inflection point where things suddenly move from negative to positive after about 10 days to 2 weeks. And then after that 2-week mark, more positive, more positive, more positive. So right now my anxiety is less. Right now the Lexapro that I've been taking for years is working again. Right now my mood is much more stable. And I can regulate and understand my feelings more. And that's something that's really my biggest focus right now is more introspection on what am I feeling. You know, it doesn't mean I don't have anxiety. I'm human. It doesn't mean I'm not sad or frustrated or overwhelmed. Like, it's not like you get off of weed and all of a sudden life just becomes easy and magical. I mean, in a lot of ways it does become easier and much more magical. But the point is, I'm trying to figure out, like, when I am upset and when I am anxious, like, I can actually slow down and think about why. Before it was always like, oh, I'll just consume weed and that'll fix it. Or, oh, I have to have a hard conversation with my wife. I'll just consume a gummy and then have that conversation. Or, I'm having trouble being present with my kids. I'll consume a gummy and that'll fix that. When there's always this masking of a substance like weed that will seemingly make whatever situation you're in easier, that's the trap of addiction. And that's the lie I told myself. And I'm not saying it can't make things easier for a time being or temporarily. But when your life is lived that way and your whole life becomes that thought process, man, it just is exhausting. So I would just say, yeah, you're going to be more anxious when you quit if you were a heavy user and if you were like me who did it for 2 decades, off and on, mostly on. And tell your loved ones, tell your partner, tell your family, tell your friends that you're doing it. Bring it to light, and that's the support you need. Your coworkers, whoever you need to tell, let them know. You'll be surprised how people love helping other people, and they're gonna, your true friends and those that matter the most are really gonna support you in your moods, in your anxiety, and they'll know what you're going through, and they're gonna be proud of you for putting yourself bravely through more pain temporarily to find something amazing on the other side. And that's the bottom line. It's a temporary pain for a giant rope being metaphorically cut off of your ankles that has been dragging you down, or at least it was for me, into the depths of the ocean, or I call it into the matrix, you know, flying off the handle and being detached from any feeling of groundedness. You are suddenly free from that. And everything in life just seems more colorful and more vibrant and more real. And isn't that the ultimate irony? Because weed, when you first started using it, at least for me, everything was more vibrant, everything was more real, everything was more creative, until it's not. And so try sobriety. It's actually, you know, just think of it as another form of reality that just happens to be natural, so nothing is triggering it. But if you just look at it as a form of your own reality, and being high is another form of reality, this is an amazing reality. Your memory's there, your anxiety's less, you enjoy life. So get through the anxiety, get through the tough stuff, download the I Am Sober app. I have zero affiliation to that app or anything, so I'm just giving you my experience. That way you can walk with others that are walking in the same spot as you in sobriety, and you can feel like you're not alone. Good luck. I'm rooting for you.